Hello and welcome back to Inside the 20. Yeah, I'm back. Today, we're doing none other than the mock draft, the first round. Planning on doing three, first, second, and third round. We will see if we do more, if we don't get to three, but for now, we will definitely be doing this one. So, let's get into it. With the first overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Tennessee Titans select Abdul Carter, edge from Penn State. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, they should take Cam Ward, they should take Shedeur, they should take Travis. And I think they should take Abdul Carter. And even though he got injured, I still think the Titans take him number one overall. I mean, he has speed, he has agility, and I mean, he has football IQ. And if you watched him at Penn State, he is a very good player. And if Tennessee does end up drafting him, it'll be a great pick. And I have a feeling he's going to turn into some guy like Micah Parsons. And I know he's going to be a great franchise player. And now, the second overall pick, Cleveland. The Cleveland Browns, where dreams go to die. Shedeur Sanders, Colorado quarterback. Hopefully, he can, turn this franchise around and not make it quarterback purgatory. But maybe he won't. We'll see. Out of all the mock drafts, I'm going to be honest, I have seen gone through only a few had Shedeur, and I seriously think he's the best quarterback in this class. And yeah, I'm one of them who was him going to Cleveland. Shedeur was great at Colorado, and I think we all saw him. He balled out with this Travis Hunter and everything, but if the Browns really would like to get a jump start on this rebuild, they need to take him. Going to the number 3 overall pick, the New York Giants select Cam Ward, quarterback out of Miami. Again, this pick may not be the vast majority, but hear me out, okay? When you put this quarterback, who reminds me a lot of Jalen Hurts, not about his, what he's lived up to and all this stuff, that he just won a Super Bowl, but, about, his speed and his agility and his quickness and, his archetype, the way he moves. When you put Cam Ward, who just has all that aura, absolutely, the aura is flowing out of his body, and you put him with the best rookie wide receiver, in my opinion. When you put those two together, you have Mr. Aura himself, and you have the best wide receiver in last year's class. You get a solid duo, kind of like a Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase kind of thing. And if the Giants make this pick, they will definitely be in a good spot going into 2025, obviously. They have a strong defense, Dexter Lawrence, and that's about it. Going to New England's pick, round 1 pick for the New England Patriots, select Travis Hunter, wide receiver, cornerback, Colorado. Travis, he is the best player in this draft, and it's not even close. And if Hunter does drop to 4th overall, which I have, the Pats have to take him. If he's on the board and he's available, the Patriots have to take him. He's the best player coming out of college since Jerry Rice, Reggie Bush, or Cam Newton. And, he's a generational talent who will be doing great things in the league for a very long time. Similar to Abdul Carter, he will be a great franchise player and a great player to have. To the Jaguars pick, I didn't realize they had the 5th pick until when I did this mock draft. Round 1, pick 5, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Will Campbell, offensive tackle from LSU. Will Campbell, is an incredible offensive lineman. Maybe the best in this draft class. And the Jacksonville O-line has struggled. And as long as I can remember, they have not been good. And if the Jaguars do select him, they will be set with a great offensive tackle with lots of potential to protect your 6'6", 240-pound quarterback. To the 6th pick, the Las Vegas Raiders select Will Johnson, cornerback out of Michigan. And Las Vegas has many holes to fill. One is defense, which is where I landed on Pete Carroll selecting Will Johnson. And I think this guy could start up the Legion of Boom Part 2. Will Johnson, in his 4 years at Michigan, was amazing. And if he can translate that talent to the NFL, he will be the future on defense for Las Vegas. At number 7, the New York Jets select Jackson Dart, quarterback, Mississippi. Now, here's the thing. They need somebody. Jackson Dart is that guy, okay? And here's the thing, okay? I know the Giants have all this talk and they're interested in taking, getting Aaron Rodgers. I don't really see it. In my opinion, if he had to go there, I'd give it a 6-7% chance of happening. I don't really think it's going to happen. But anyway, so back to the pick. This pick is possibly a shock to some, maybe not. But if you go back and look at the stats, his completion percentage is higher than Quinn Ewers, Will Howard, Dylan Gabriel, Jalen Milroe, Riley Leonard, and a lot of quarterbacks. There's so many I couldn't even put them on a list. He is very underrated in my eyes, and with Aaron Rodgers not coming back, this would be the perfect pick for New York. To the 8th pick, the Carolina Panthers select Tetairoa McMillan, wide receiver, Arizona. When you look at Carolina's receiving room, all you're going to see is a bunch of old, washed-up, 32-year-old bums with no future. Sorry, Adam Thielen. So to help with this atrocity of a wide receiver room, I have the Panthers taking Tetairoa McMillan. And if you look at his stats, he shined at Arizona. And if the Panthers select him, they will definitely help Bryce Young if they would like to develop him, getting him a young rookie wide receiver. To the 9th pick, the New Orleans Saints select Micah Williams, edge, Georgia. Defensive line is a big need for the Saints, which is why I have them taking Micah Williams out of Georgia. Williams is coming off his best season at Georgia, topping his previous sacks, forced fumbles, and solo tackles. If the Saints do draft him, it will severely help their atrocity of a defense, especially after losing Chase Young. 2. The Chicago Bears selecting Kelvin Banks Jr., offensive tackle out of Texas. When you go and Google the biggest needs for the Bears, you will see offensive line. If Chicago does draft him, this will be a cornerstone to protecting Caleb Williams and making sure he doesn't taste grass every 2 plays. Seriously, they need help. Just so you guys know, this was written, edited before the Joe Tooney and the other guy that I think I got him from the Chargers. I forget who, but this is before that. I still stand with my pick, obviously. I think it's a good pick, just helping Caleb Williams even more. But just a disclaimer, this was before all of that. Going to the 11th pick, my brain cannot wrap itself around the fact that the San Francisco 49ers have the 11th pick, but they do. With the 11th pick, I have Josh Simmons going to the 49ers, an offensive tackle out of Ohio State. Let's go Buckeyes. Anyway, this may be a reach to some, but the 49ers' biggest hole is offensive line. If they are going to be able to draft him at this spot, they should. With San Francisco line getting old and not as good as they used to be, it would be great to get some new talent, even if he doesn't start right away. To the 12th pick, the Dallas Cowboys, shocker to everybody, are taking Ashton Jeanty out of Boise State. And this is a pick I think a lot of people had. I mean, if you look at it, in an interview a few months back, Jeanty was asked who he would like to be drafted by. He said the Cowboys. And I'm going to be honest. If the Cowboys do draft him and have him at running back 1, he would be perfect. And I think, this would be absolutely spectacular pick for Dallas. And if he's available, I think the Cowboys have to take him. I know they have other holes, but at this point, I mean, they're looking pretty good. But I think running back is something they have to, fill. I know they have Rico Dowell. I think that's how you say his name. But I mean, it's not great. It's not that good. To Miami's pick, I feel like Miami just fell off the face of the earth this year. Everybody forgot about them. The Miami Dolphins will be taking Colston Loveland, tight end out of Michigan. Miami is in need of a tight end, so why not go out and draft the best one in the draft? And Loveland balled out at Michigan. It's not even close. He was a huge part of their 2023 national championship run, and if he's there when Miami's on the clock, they have to take him. Going to the Colts, round 1, pick 14, Indianapolis Colts select Malachi Starks, free safety out of Georgia. Starks would be a best case scenario pick for Indy considering their lack of depth and overall strength at the safety position. Every time I watched this guy in college, I felt like he was always going to make a big play, and he is a playmaker who isn't scared to go for the ball. And I think he will mesh really well with Indianapolis' scheme on defense if they do select him. To the 15th pick, the Atlanta Falcons select Landon Jackson, edge out of Arkansas. I watched this dude at the combine and he was great. He ran a solid 40 and balled out in all the drills, something you really would like to see. Atlanta's biggest need is on the defensive side of the ball, more specifically on the D-line. If the Falcons do draft him, they will be looking at a monster on the defensive line. Going to the 16th pick, halfway done, the Arizona Cardinals select Shamir Stewart, defensive end out of Texas A&M. And the Cardinals, similar to the Jaguars with their offensive line, have always had an average defensive line in my opinion. Which is why, to improve their biggest problem on defense, I have them selecting Shamir Stewart with the 16th pick. He is ranked as the 4th best defensive line in the class, and if Arizona does draft him, they will be set. 2. My team's pick, as you can see from all the stuff in the back. The Cincinnati Bengals select Jahdae Barron, cornerback out of Texas. Cincy's biggest problem is secondary. It's not even close. Their defense was absolutely horrendous, which is why Joe Burrow didn't win MVP. and why they didn't make the playoffs. The Chiefs are scared of us. Yeah, like I said, they had one of the worst defenses in all of football, which is why I have the Bengals taking Jahad Barron out of Texas. Barron is ranked the second best cornerback in the class, and if he's available come the 17th pick, Cincinnati has to put his name in. 2, pick 18, the Seattle Seahawks select Tyler Booker, offensive guard out of Alabama. Tyler Booker is the best offensive guard in this year's draft. If his name isn't called to a team that needs a guard the most, I don't know what direction Seattle would go in. Booker is a standout offensive lineman who would definitely improve Seattle's average offensive line. To the Bucks pick, round 1, pick 19, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Jahad Campbell, linebacker out of Alabama. With Levante David getting old and towards retirement, it would make perfect sense for Tampa to take him. He's the number 1 linebacker in the class. He's a stud, and with a great defense around him, he should develop nicely, and I wouldn't be surprised if he is a big name in a couple of years. Round 1, pick 20. Going to the Denver Broncos pick, they take Jalen Walker, linebacker out of Georgia. Similar to Tampa Bay, Denver needs a linebacker. Bad. Jalen Walker is the second best linebacker in the class, and again, similar to the Buccaneers, if the Broncos draft Walker, he will turn into an excellent player with an excellent defense around him, which again makes me think that with this advantage, he will be great. 2, the Pittsburgh Steelers pick. Boo. We don't like Steelers. I have them taking Emeka Egbuka, wide receiver out of Ohio State. It's a complex name to say. Emeka Egbuka was a dog at Ohio State and was a very good receiver for the Buckeyes in their national title run. If Pittsburgh does make his pick, I believe Egbuka will pair very well with George Pickens and the other Steeler receivers. 2, the 22nd pick, the Los Angeles Chargers select Luther Burden III, wide receiver out of Missouri. After the Chargers lost both Mike Williams and Keenan Allen in the offseason last year, they were left in a bad spot. If the Chargers select Luther Burden III, he will produce. Mark my words, if the Chargers draft Luther Burden III, he will become something special. 3 years, he will be there. Be the next Jamar Chase. With the 23rd pick, I have the Green Bay Packers selecting Benjamin Morrison, cornerback out of Notre Dame. Morrison may not look the best on paper, but if he can get the right coaching, he will develop nicely. Morrison had his best season in 2022 as a freshman, recording 6 interceptions and 25 solo tackles. Green Bay needs a corner, as their only real corner is Jair Alexander. If the Pack makes this pick, they will have a good, young, developmental cornerback for the future. Round 1, pick 24, the Minnesota Vikings are on the clock, and I have them selecting Donovan Jackson, offensive tackle out of Ohio State. Minnesota has a very okay offensive line. Donovan Jackson was great at Ohio State, protecting Will Howard and giving him all day to throw. If they draft him, they will be getting good protection for their young QB going into his sophomore year. To the 25th pick, the Houston Texans select Derek Harmon, defensive line, Oregon. Having a 6'5", 310-pound lineman is a pretty big flex. Harmon, who is coming off his best season yet with 5 sacks and 26 solo tackles, Houston can beef up their D-line even more with this pick. With Will Anderson, Danico Audrey, Daniil Hunter, this line is going to be very scary if Houston drafts him. To the 26th pick, the Los Angeles Rams, the other Los Angeles team, select Tyler Warren, tight end out of Penn State. With Tyler Higbee getting old and washed, the Rams are going to move on. If Tyler Warren is on the board come the Rams pick, they have to draft him. With Warren coming off his best season by far in receptions, touchdowns, and yards, Tyler Warren would be the perfect pick for Los Angeles. To the 27th pick, the Baltimore Ravens select Josh Connerly Jr., offensive tackle, Oregon. Baltimore's a great team, but you can never have too many offensive linemen. Baltimore is near perfect in a lot of places, which is what influenced my pick. Josh Connerly Jr. is a unit of a player, sitting at 315 and standing at 6'4". My perspective is that you can never get enough offensive linemen, and if you want Lamar to get an MVP, you need to get him more protection. 2, the 28th pick, the Detroit Lions select Jack Sawyer, edge out of Ohio State. I love Jack Sawyer. I'm just going to say it right here. He was a huge part in the Buckeyes national championship run and also a huge part of how the Buckeyes had the best red zone defense in college football. Pairing Aiden Hutchinson and Jack Sawyer together is like Kobe Bryant and Shaq in 2001. If Sawyer does go to Detroit, the NFL is absolutely cooked. Absolutely cooked. If they have to face the Lions, just literally, you're getting sacked every 2 plays. It's cooked. You're cooked. To the 29th pick, one of my favorite teams, the Washington Commanders, select Ahmed Mambu, offensive tackle out of Missouri. Very similar to my Ravens pick, you cannot have too many offensive line. And with a young, still developing quarterback like Jaden Daniels, I stress the importance even more. We all saw what Jaden did in his rookie year. Pairing him with the fourth best offensive lineman in the class, the Commanders can go even further. To the 30th pick, the Buffalo Bills select Matthew Golden, wide receiver out of Texas. Buffalo's wide receiver room surprised a lot of us in 2024, and possibly adding Matthew Golden would be a solid step in the right direction. Golden had his best season by far, surpassing in receptions, yards, and touchdowns. If the Bills want a fast, under-the-radar guy who can produce at a high level, they should draft him. To the 31st pick, the Kansas City Chiefs. Oh, I'm so happy they're not at 32. It makes me so happy. They select Shavon Revel Jr., cornerback out of East Carolina. In some people's eyes, this pick is a reach, but just because he was injured in 2024 doesn't mean he can't come back and ball out in his rookie year. Even though he was injured in 2024, he did play in 3 games and got 2 picks, including a touchdown. If Kansas City does put his name in, this will add to their already solid secondary. To the last pick, the Philadelphia Eagles. Fly, Eagles, fly. Select Nick Sowerton, edge, Texas A&M. With Brandon Graham set to retire and Josh Sweat hitting free agency, the Eagles are going to need a new defensive lineman. Sowerton was a great player at Texas A&M, putting up consistent numbers and playing great each week. In 2024, though, he had 5 sacks to pair with 27 tackles. If Philly wants a defensive lineman who can produce, they should draft Nick Sowerton. Alrighty, y'all. Thank you for tuning in. You're a real one if you watched the entire video. This will do it for my mock draft 1. Oh, it feels so good to be back. I'm back. Have you guys seen that? The Cam Newton thing? He scored against the Cardinals in like 2020. It's like his first game in like so long. And he took his helmet off and yelled, I'm back. Anyway, I feel like Cam Newton right now. So, that will do it for my mock draft 1. I will be doing a second one for round 2 and probably a third one. We'll see. Draft is not for another like month and a half, so we have time to kill. Anyway, thank you for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe, like, comment, and share. Do all that fun stuff. And yeah, have a good day. And this has been Inside the 20, your mock draft 1.